Chapter 4, Subchapter 6, my first revelation, I am a meaningless insect. I entered a prestigious university on America's East Coast at the age of 19. Scholastically, I was prepared. Socially, I was utterly overwhelmed. Until that point in my life, I had lived a sheltered existence. I had no idea how to interact with others in any meaningful way. The Chinese people I grew up with on the compound were by nature and culture reserved and not particularly expressive. Now here I was in America, surrounded by Westerners, loud, open, and direct. Americans were an oddity to me. I knew nothing about their pop culture, their music, or their beloved NFL. To them, I was an outsider who didn't quite fit in. There were many instances of ridicule and a few of downright psychological cruelty. I felt alone. I hated it, and I hated myself. I considered writing in detail about my unhappiness, how I wished to die, how weak I felt, how much I despised myself. I thought about baring my soul, laying it all out. Then I stopped and said to myself, fuck this. I hated the man I was, but I loved the man I became. This is how I want to be remembered. Enough with the I was always depressed narrative or the I was suicidal crap. This book isn't about those days. The past is always full of unhappy memories. I chose to focus on the brilliance of a beautiful life lived and not the pains of a troubled youth. Thankfully, within a 3-hour drive from campus, there was a mountain range where I could disappear at any time of the year. These mountains became, in some small way, my personal psychiatrist. The colder and harsher the winter, the more eager I was to escape into their embrace. In October 1988, I returned to school after my mother's funeral. Was I grieving? No, I was not, and that bothered me a little, but the discomfort of being at university was my main concern, and all I could think about was planning my escape to the mountains. By November, I was ready. The Leonid meteors had returned, their annual display lighting up the night sky with hundreds of meteors per hour. That night, as I lay under the stars, I extinguished my campfire to better enjoy their majestic beauty. The sky felt alive with movement, each streak of light a reminder of the vastness of the universe. But my thoughts spiraled downwards. I am so unimportant. We humans are so small and insignificant. We live, we die, we are forgotten. Our lives mean nothing. We are drops in an ocean, mere points on the long line of human history. Footnote 19. Jean-Paul Sartre said, life has no meaning the moment you lose the illusion of being eternal. Recognizing our mortality forces us to confront the inherent meaninglessness of life. We return. With each new thought, I felt my mind began to spark, electrified like the meteors themselves. My despair turned into something else, a creative energy. I relit the campfire, grabbed my diary, and began writing. It started with these words. I am nothing. I don't mean that I am a nothing, only that the value of my life is zero. Statistically, I am no different than any other person on this planet. If there was an alien in a spaceship hovering over our planet Earth, there would be no discernible difference between any of us. I was born and I will die. Like billions before me and countless billions upon billions after me. I am no more than a number, barely even one grain of sand in a desert. I am the tiniest point on the long line that represents mankind's past and future. No one will remember this person 50 years after I am dead. No one is remembered. Tell me a famous man who is remembered, and I will say, do you know what his thoughts were? What he stood for? What would he say about our modern societies? What would he think about man's technological advances, our trips to outer space? George Washington, a great man, no doubt. But he was a man that was relevant to his years, not ours. His life and his way of living offers no meaning to anything we do on a daily basis, and we cannot look to him today for his keen judgment, nor for his view of world politics. Like every man, he lived and he died. I don't care how rich a man is, how well known, how popular, or how many beautiful women he took to bed. In the end, he is a man, like I am, destined to be forgotten. Sons, there was a moment in my life when I began contemplating just how small and insignificant I truly was. Lying under the vast expanse of millions of stars, I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the universe. The sheer scale of it made me feel unbearably small. That night, a deep sadness crept over me, stronger than anything I had ever experienced. I felt like my life was tumbling down around me, unraveling in a way I didn't understand. The next morning, I couldn't shake these thoughts. They lingered, grew darker, and became harder to ignore. For the first time, I truly began questioning the meaning of my existence. Within 6 months, I had convinced myself that my life had no purpose. I thought often and quite seriously about ending it. Living felt futile. What was the point of it all? Why was I here? It didn't matter if I got out of bed or stayed in it. Nothing mattered. My life, or even my death, seemed meaningless. This period of despair left a lasting impression on me. It carved into my soul a concept of absolute humility. And that has stayed with me to this day. I understood in the deepest sense how insignificant I was in the grand scheme of things. But after months of sinking into this dark abyss, I emerged, if only slightly. I started to challenge my own thoughts. I reasoned that there must be something beyond this life, something greater than what we could see. How could I, being conscious of my existence, truly believe there was no reason for it? Humans, unlike animals, have the capacity to question their existence. Surely that meant something. Yet I had no answers. The frustration of searching for meaning only deepened my depression. During this time, I lost all fear of dying. I convinced myself that death was merely a bridge, a crossing to somewhere unknown. I looked forward to seeing what was on the other side.